Hello.
Hello.
Are the sound levels right?
I think so.
It'll do.
1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah,
1, 2, 1, 2.
Yeah, you sound good.
We're back after... Get it again. Like a month.
It has been, probably been about
I
4
think
weeks.
we're going to have to explain to ourselves quite how this happened.
Yes, we're going to have to explain what happened.
Yeah. Right, welcome to Start for 10. Episode...
45, I think.
We think it's 45. Yeah. Meh. Yeah, back after a long pause.
He's Angus.
And he's George. Let's see if we can remember how to do this. And quite a lot has happened in the world. So we might be... we've got a starter. We'll see where we go.
If we get there.
If we get there. Who knows? Who knows, right?
So,
cool. So
what
then...
have you been up to?
Well, where do I have to start from?
A month ago.
A month ago.
The 1st of April.
I can't remember. What have I done in that time? I've been on holiday.
Yeah. Went to Turkey.
Yeah, I went to Turkey.
Yeah.
Because we talked about the holiday.
We talked
the
about it just
all-inclusive
before you
holiday,
went.
didn't we?
Yeah, just before you
Yeah,
went.
so I've been and done that. And then, yeah, that was really nice. And also, you know, like you have a bit of a time to build up to the holiday and then...
Yeah.
to
It's
come
always
down
like you
afterwards,
get an extra few days before and a few days
yeah,
after.
with all the
thing.
faff. So yeah, that was really, really nice. And then, other than that, I've just been lying low, really. I've been doing some work, bits and bobs, just boring stuff.
Got a new bike.
Got a new bike.
That's
Got a new bike. Oh yeah, that's quite exciting. Got a new
Yeah.
bike.
Really exciting.
Yeah, new bike day. Literally my favourite day ever.
Yeah.
But it's the best thing I've ever had in my life.
It's a life changer, isn't it?
It's a life changer. It literally is. Yeah, it's an e-bike with a battery on it.
Yeah.
An e-mountain bike. And it's genuinely the best thing ever. So good.
Yeah.
On Saturday I went out for a ride and I went and did 30 kilometres, 18.9 miles or whatever, nearly 20 miles, and like 3,000 feet of climbing around here. And yeah, I'm knackered, but that's probably from having 2.5 hours sat in the saddle as opposed to...
Yeah.
But without that, you just couldn't do it. And yeah, it's just getting me back out there and I'm loving it. It's literally... It's a dream. It's an absolute dream.
It's just good that you can get back out again. It
Yeah.
enables people in a situation like you to be able to still enjoy.
Yeah, and there's
Mountain
more to it than that as well. I would say on the other side, if you gave it to... There's two other sides of it. If you gave it to somebody who was super fit and healthy as well, they'd be able to go a disgustingly long way for a ride before their legs gave out. What I would say, other parts of their body would give out and they wouldn't be able to hold on. Because if you can't ride aggressively, you cannot ride aggressive mountain bike trails. If you're used to going out for a ride with your mates and it taking an hour and a half and you do 7-8 miles, while you stop and have a chat and have a drink and all that stuff. If you suddenly gave somebody a bike that enables them to do 16 miles in that amount of time, they are shagged. Like you literally can't hold on because you've done twice as much of the bumpy stuff.
Yep.
So it's getting me...
Kills you.
It's getting...
Kills your coccyx.
I would say, in a weird way, it's actually harder. Like, it's physically harder riding the e-bike than it is...
Because you ride down more. And
you end up doing more riding. You do so
Yeah.
much more riding. And
believe that.
you also get this weird thing where because what used to be perceived as the boring bits, like the climbs back up the hills to ride down the fun bits again, because you sort of zip up them, you attack the climbs as well, so you ride faster on the bits of trails that would have been normally you'd have crawled around these turns at 2 mile an hour. Well, you can suddenly go 10 mile an hour around them, so they become fun as well. So it keeps making you want to go and go and go. So you keep charging all the time, and then when you go down, you look at I look at my Garmin watch or whatever, it tells me what my heart rate is on my heart rate strap, and you realise you've been absolutely on the pipe.
Yeah.
Like heart rate of 160 for the last hour because you haven't taken a break, because every time you come out of a turn, you get this surge of power that just drives you, this like electric boost that keeps you going.
Do you does
mega.
it charge when you're down as well, or just when you're pedaling?
No,
Do you have to be pedaling for it to charge?
no, it doesn't charge. You have to charge it up in the mains.
Oh, it doesn't. There's no like dyno to charge.
No,
the
no
battery?
dyno to charge it
Interesting.
up. It's not
Okay,
like
cool.
Kurz, not like a Formula 1 car.
Cool. Oh, that's a shame.
But it's got an absolute monster battery in it.
Yeah.
That I think that's probably the cost of them. I mean, the replacement.
Does it have a USB port?
No, it doesn't.
Oh, I missed a trick there, didn't I?
Why? So what, you can't charge your phone?
Yeah.
There are some that you can do things like that from. I mean, it'll be able to charge your phone about 1,000 times over. It's the biggest. It's a serious battery.
Have some beer. So, Angus, we didn't record a pod the other week, but we were going to, and then we didn't.
Yeah, what have you been up to, George?
Oh, I was going to talk about the beer.
Oh yeah. No. Come on, we've got to fill in. There's other gaps to fill here first.
So one of the main reasons why it's been a month, other than Angus being on
But it's
holiday,
only more than a month. You've been. What have you been up to, George? I haven't been doing anything. Might actually be a small lie.
So yeah, I bought a house. So
Yeah,
that's basically what's happened. So the last 6 months of not doing anything has probably been because I've been
because he's been doing
trying to get a house.
pretending he's retired, doing free activities.
Oh, that's free. Let's do that today.
I think I'll drive to Sidmouth.
I think I'll go for a walk from my house because then I don't have to drive anywhere, and then I save fuel.
Yeah.
And that's good. No, yeah, I bought a house. So it's also been a bit all over the place while I've been sorting that. And that fell like the week or so before you went away.
Yeah.
So that all happened then, and then Angus went away, and then it's been.
And we
a
did
week.
actually gather at the new house.
Yeah, we did, and we were going to record a podcast.
And I
but
bought
it
the
never
podcast
happened.
stuff.
Yeah.
And I had a bottle of champagne.
Yeah, which was awesome.
And we cracked open the champers.
Yeah.
And we like toasted the new house.
We did.
And then we had
Smashed the bottle on the front door.
Yeah, and we had the beer. And
Yeah, it
the
was
beers,
Little Creature Pale Ale.
Yeah.
I took photos of the bottle.
And it had
so
a
we wouldn't
naked little
forget.
boy on it.
It did.
That's why I bought them, I think.
And a picture of a naked little boy. It was from Australia, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think I can't find it on here. Yeah, that's right. It was imported by Aspel Cider, but it's brewed in Australia. It was really nice.
It was a really good one.
It
I
was
think I got it from
pale
Waitrose.
ale.
Yeah, I got it from
Pale
Waitrose
ale.
in the specialty beer section.
It's very nice. It's from Fremantle
Mm.
in Western
But
Australia.
I would say tonight's beers.
Yeah, they're not bad.
Yeah, tonight's beers. I've cocked this up. Tonight's beers are from Lidl.
They are.
I'm having a Ruby Rooster.
And I'm on Purple Panther.
My Ruby Rooster is a nice red ruby ale, a number 4. Whereas George is drinking something that
It's treacle, basically.
it's treacle. It's a
really
porter,
nice.
but
I
it
love
looks
it.
like it looks like it looks like Coke.
It does look like Coke, actually, yeah.
It's black.
Darker than Coke.
Yeah, but it's not like Guinness.
No, Guinness is more red than this.
Mm.
Yeah, it's brown.
Yeah, that is very dark.
Brown.
That is.
It's
That was
nice,
too.
I like dark
That was
beers.
too much. That was too much flavour for me.
Yeah, if it doesn't taste like watered down treacle, it's not good. But that's really nice.
Mm.
And it's like £1.20 or
Yeah,
something.
£1.29 a
Lidl.
bottle.
Which is great.
Or £1.
And the crisps are from Lidl too.
Yes,
Salt and black
with
pepper,
salt and
which
black
they are
pepper,
really
were.
good.
But no, that beer is very good. Co-op have a new line of beers in.
Ah.
They seem to be looking at some
Interesting.
interesting beers for
Have
the
they
summer,
been listening
maybe.
to the pod?
I'm not sure, but they look like
I
that could
reckon
be
they
really
have.
worth investigating again.
Okay.
And obviously, a big Waitrose always has a crazy
Hmm.
selection of beers.
I went into Majestic the other day.
Majestic
The
Wines.
wine merchant.
Well, you're showing your age now. You've bought a house, now you go to wine merchants.
Oh, it's a bit naff in there, really. Because I think it used to be really good for beer and stuff, but supermarkets got better, so
Yeah.
they kind of lost out. But I imagine if you're into wine, it's really good. They got so much wine in there.
Yeah, but,
But
so does
I went
Tesco.
for, yeah, I know. Well, no, they have more wine than Tesco. Tons of the stuff. And you walk in and they're like, would you like to try some champagne? And I was like, no thanks, mate. I'm here to look at beer.
I'm here to look at beer.
I'm here to look at beer. And he's like, well, we have got a selection of beers to taste too. And I'm like, if I want to try one, I'll come
Now you're
find
talking my
you."
language.
So I have a look. But no, I didn't buy anything. I was going to, though. But they had, no, what I was going to say, they had loads of
Aren't they more for buying
craft
volume?
beers. Well, not really, but only like crates of 6 or 12.
Yeah, I
not
thought
like,
it was for like party supplies.
Yeah, but
buying
they're not
crates of
even
12.
they're not even cheaper than the supermarket. In fact, it's not. It's more expensive than the supermarket. It's stupid, like really weird. But they had some cool craft IPAs and lagers and beers and stuff, which I thought was quite good. That's what my point was. digressy.
We went to... And
It's also the worst car park in the world.
No, that's Lidl in Newton Abbot.
Oh, that is also terrible.
Lidl in Newton Abbot, I honestly... Every time I go in there...
It's awful.
You take your life in your hands. It's one of the worst designed car parks. And also, this I'm not a sweeping statement, but a judgment on the clientele of the people who use King Stainton Lidl. Right, okay.
Ooh, Angus, careful, I was there today.
Nothing, yeah. I'm not, this is what I'm saying. There's nothing wrong with... There are, however, a clientele of people... I'm going to keep digging this hole because it has a point here.
Whole day through.
There's also a clientele of people who still drive a Ford Sierra on a C-Reg plate that I don't know how it's taxed or insured, who get it out once a week and point it in the general direction of Lidl in King Stainton, who can't manoeuvre it, can't park it, can't really control it, and seem to want to operate it at no less than 5,000 revs. So everything they do is always really quick. So clutch control is probably... maybe he's trying his best in a C-Reg Ford Sierra. But you see cars shoot around the car park, is how I would describe it. It's also one of those car parks with a weird like island of cars that the traffic joins on both sides. Really there's a bottleneck to get in there, and it's hell.
It is stupid.
But my main problem I have with it is that the people who get their super old cars out one day a week to go to Lidl, who then point and shoot them.
I know what you mean. You get the same in the other car park across the road.
Yeah, at Home Bargains, and that's another
that.
savagely designed car park.
Yeah, awful.
Every time
it does have two entrances though.
Every time I take Rory to get his hair cut, I nearly have a prang in the car.
Yeah, I know, it's bad. Yeah.
This is a first world problem, taking your dog to get his hair cut.
Oh dear.
Yes. Yeah, in the meantime, we went to that beer festival, didn't we?
Oh yeah, we went to a local beer festival, which was really you were there and I was there.
Yeah, we didn't go together. Yeah. We both saw each other
like a weird couple. No, you went and I went. It was really good.
Yeah, it was
some
fun.
Really cool beers there.
Yeah, I had some shockers
from all over the southwest.
I had some absolute howlers.
All of the ones I had were great. I was really lucky, I think.
Yeah, and I think maybe you went... Well, you get given like a brochure. I think, how many beers were there?
That's the thing. 200 and something?
200. There was a lot.
There was a ton of beers. There was like, how long was the place?
The whole.
Like 150 meters?
Maybe it was 150 meters.
Something like that.
Of 3 high.
And the whole, unbelievable number of beers. And alphabetically, they had to put them all alphabetical.
Yeah, it was quite
in brewery so that you knew where the hell everything was.
I imagine, obviously it's at Tucker's Maltings, and there's only... one or two Tucker's there's only one or two maltings left in the whole country, isn't there?
Yeah, probably not many.
So I imagine this is probably more prestigious than we just went because it was local. But
no, I think it's quite well known. I think it's quite a prestigious beer festival. Yeah, it's been around for 25 years, isn't it? Because it was the anniversary. Yeah, it was really good.
It was a laugh.
Some cool beers. The band were great.
Yeah, the band were pretty good.
They were great. They were doing
cutting shapes.
They were doing like 50s and 60s covers, weren't they? Like Stones and
covers of all sorts,
Cream and Hendrix and people like that.
Yeah, it was a good, and it was in that weird dingy hellhole of a place. We went outside, and
there's an outside which was cool, and a little they put a marquee up, didn't they, with tables and chairs and stuff, which was a really good idea. I didn't sample the food, the cuisine.
No, we didn't we ordered Domino's.
Oh, yeah, see, I said...
we got Domino's and walked and got it, and it was actually pretty good.
Good idea. I ate before I went.
Oh, that was probably a better idea.
What did I have? Grilled chicken, I think. It was nice.
Well, you were there from really early as well, from like 6
o'clock
or something.
No, I wasn't there that early.
Yeah, we were there
I was there from like 7:30, 8.
Because I went with Jack, and Jack had seen... He was like, they were queuing. They were queuing. So we were like...
It was clear when we were there at like 8.
Yeah, so we went... we didn't want to queue. So we went super early and just walked in. We were like... Right, it's like 6 p.m. I haven't eaten dinner yet.
There's no one here.
There's not very many people here. And
although they had like 2 shifts.
What I don't think I want to do is start drinking really strong and really obscure real ale right now. On an empty stomach.
There was some mental stuff there.
Yeah.
Like 9 point something.
I had some crazy beers. That's what I think. You said you had some really nice beers, whereas I think what I did was go to the brochure and look for all the things that had a purple
There were
dot
some
by
weird
them
ones.
that were speciality beers.
Yeah, there were some weird
I had
ones.
stuff that was like fruit infused.
There was
and,
one that was like, tastes like flapjack. Did
yeah,
you see that?
I had like caramel beer and
Weird.
this
I wasn't brave
chocolate-
enough to try those.
I had this chocolate thing as
Wasn't
well.
that the flapjack one?
No,
No,
there was
that wasn't the
there was
flapjack one.
this really dark one that was coffee and chocolate, and it just tasted like a sweet
Well,
drink.
that would have been like that, like a porter.
No, yeah, it was a porter, but it was a novelty beer.
Yeah.
It was pure novelty.
I just had good beers. I chose the right
I
ones.
didn't, and also, I think I had about. Obviously, you drink in halves
Yeah.
because that way you can get through
You try
more
and you
variety.
try different things, and you get slightly more than half every time.
Yeah, but I reckon I probably only had about 6 different beers. But I was sloshed off like 3 pints.
I had
I don't know what it
4,
was.
I think, but we tried because there was a couple of us. We
Yeah,
tried.
you had a mouthful of each other's stuff.
Yeah, which was cool. So you did get a good.
I was
taste.
I was getting flipping wrecked. I don't
But
know what it was. It was a variety.
I
or
think it
real
does it.
ale or
Yeah, it
whatever.
does. It just screws with you.
There was people like walking round and.
Did you have Hunters, which is a local brewery? They do a beer called Full Bore.
I think I've
I
had
think
Full
it's
Bore before.
8.2, I think, and it is
Yeah, that's too
so
strong.
so good though.
That's as strong as the Duval we had doing the pod.
Duval.
The Devil beer. The Devil beer.
The Duval.
Right.
All right then.
I think it's time. Should we start?
Right, let's. It's only been like 10 minutes or something.
Okay. Right.
We have got a news story, so go ahead.
We do.
I don't know the details of this, so
I've only just found it a minute ago. It's news that there's a man has put out a human-sized rat trap to stop people stealing his campaign signs. It's in America,
well,
but
like
it's a
political campaign.
yeah, political campaign signs. But it's on his like front yard. But obviously, it's in America, but it's very topical to the UK because
Yeah, it is.
while we were away, we left our podcast on the border of basically a war.
We did. It was basically World War III. It could have gone either way.
Yeah,
With North Korea, America, Russia, everything, all over the place. France about to elect a absolute right wing,
Yeah,
right
on
wing
the-
crazy person
on the border, about to go extreme right wing.
yeah,
Extreme right,
like since
dangerously
nothing
too far
since
right wing.
they'd seen since Germany in the 40s, 30s.
But thankfully that
didn't happen.
That didn't happen.
The French actually were intelligent and realised that going with something a bit more safe and in
Bit
the
more
middle
centralist
was
was
probably
a good idea.
the best thing to be doing.
It shafted us as a UK, but
Well, yeah,
doesn't
it did a bit because he's so pro-EU. But at least he's not a nationalist. And
yeah, but I'd rather that we were slightly shafted than France was going into like
yeah,
civil war hate crimes,
exactly, which would have just been awful.
which would have been really bad.
So France is stabilised. The Americans have left North Korea or left the ships in the North China Sea.
Yeah,
wherever
but I
they
think
were.
that's visual. No, because North Korea launched another missile today.
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
Again today.
they did. Yeah.
So they're still kicking off.
Yeah, North Korea is still mental, but America have kind of stepped back a bit and kind of chilled a bit. Although
Yeah.
they have installed the anti-missile stuff in South
Yeah, but they've been
Korea.
told to take that away again.
Well,
by
because he
China
wants to
or
charge.
something.
Yeah, there's something like that because it's against something. or-
China just
I
don't like it being there. So they're all kicking off. But then in the meantime, closer to home,
Closer to home, yeah.
there's
There's a general election.
out of nowhere, really.
Well, it was expected.
Yeah, but it was sort of but it was
Everybody knew it would happen.
yeah, but it wasn't.
Theresa
that
May
expected
said it
because
wouldn't happen.
She that's what I mean. It wasn't that expected. I mean,
Yeah.
she said it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
And then suddenly there was one morning where it was like, oh, there's going to be an announcement at 11 o'clock, and nobody really knew what it was going to be. And then everyone immediately thought the Queen
was dead.
the Queen or Prince Philip had died.
They would have said that straight away.
Yeah, and everyone knows there's a protocol for when the Queen
There is.
dies.
I read that. It's quite cool.
Yes. What's it called? London Bridge is down.
That's something like that.
Yeah, it's a full protocol.
It's really good. If you get a chance, like all seriousness, read it because it's quite cool.
Yeah, and the BBC,
everybody knows exactly what to do if the Queen dies. It's really cool.
yeah, and the BBC aren't allowed to show comedy for 3 days.
That's right.
It's quite funny. Yeah,
It's really good. It's
And
quite
then,
funny that it's all been planned.
honestly, I say that. Well, I mean, we joke all the way. It's a bit of a running joke I have that I think she's dead anyway. But
She's a lizard.
she's a lizard, yeah. But she's going to die at some point. She's going to die soon. It's like Bruce Forsyth. He's going to die soon.
Right, it's true. Yeah.
They're not
In the next-
immortal.
Well, yeah, probably the next 5 years.
Yeah, That would make her 90, like nearly 100.
Yeah, I reckon. Well, yeah, she's got to send herself a card, so that's what
Mum,
she's going
wasn't her
for.
mum over 100? The Queen Mother
Oh,
was
I
over 100,
think
wasn't it?
So yeah, I remember when she died.
So do I.
'Cause
I
I was
went to the
watching-
River Dark Country Park.
Did you?
Yeah.
I was watching. It was like Saturday night, and I was watching like Generation Game or something.
No, I didn't actually go. What
And
happened
it really
was
annoyed me because
the Queen Mother
the
died,
news came on.
and the Queen Mother died, and then I was going to the River Dark Country Park with Baldy, I think. Yeah, it was. And we went to like the back entrance to the River Dark Country Park, and we just walked up to Spitchwick, and we went off this rope swing, and I got the biggest friction burn on my hands of all times. That's why I remember the Queen Mother's death.
I remember it because it was announced when I was watching telly.
I just got big friction burns.
I was a kid.
Mm.
About what? We must have been about 6 to 10, something like that. 8.
Yeah,
something like
something like that.
that. About 8.
Yeah, big
Something like
friction burns.
Anyway.
everywhere. Mm.
That's nasty, man.
Right through the palms.
That's really bad.
Yeah. And also
But you didn't do that again.
No, I didn't. And what happened was I jumped off it was like a rope swing really high up a bank, so that you swung out and then let go, so you were still jumping from quite high.
Yeah.
But what happened was as I jumped off the bank,
You slid down.
I slid down the rope and landed in like waist deep water from too high to
broken
be
a leg.
too high to be landing in. So I was lucky that I didn't hurt my legs, but mainly I was just the stinging.
At least you could put them in the water.
Yeah, I did, and it was burning. Like it was, they were literally melting. It
I
was
got friction burn
savage.
at Creeley once.
What for Deathslide?
Oh, you already know.
Oh,
Do you already know that story?
no, but that's
You
where
might-
everybody gets
might
friction
already
burns.
Yeah, well, I was a wuss, basically. I wussed out. Totally wussed out. I was at the top of the death slide, and I was like, no, don't want to do it.
And
Not
somebody
happy
pushed
with
you
this.
off.
No. And so I decided I'll kind of go down, like, I'll hang and then
Oh
drop.
no! Did your shirt come up?
No, my neck. Yeah, man. So my chin went up, and I went
Friction burn
down
your throat.
on my front, and yeah, all down my throat was like red raw. I had like ice.
Oh my
I was carrying
God.
ice on my neck like this. Yeah, it was really sore. But I was stupid, so I kind of deserved it.
I still think one of the scariest things I've ever seen. I don't know how old I was, a teenager, and there were these other like big guys at one of those theme parks on a death slide, and what they would do is they would stand on the top rail and jump up and out a little bit and like jump into the death slide. The balls to do that. Christ,
get it right,
I wouldn't
like,
do that
that's
now.
mental.
That's mental. Could you imagine that? It's one thing just pushing yourself off, but imagine what if you go a little bit wrong? You're basically landing to flat in the bottom. Oh, it made my stomach go funny.
No way.
Oh, it was
Anyway, back on track. So yeah, Theresa May called for a general election,
yeah.
which was understandable, really, because they want to solidify their position in government, and there are other political agendas, but we're not going to talk about them on here.
Why? What do you mean? I'm not just dragging it over you. What do you mean? Sorry.
Well, there's just other things. There's other reasons why people think that they've called a general election, like with someone said I never looked it up to check, so this might be total horse poop.
It wouldn't be our first
Right.
time. Crack on.
But they were saying how there was the investigation into the Conservative MPs who
Oh yes.
fiddled either their expenses or money that they'd spent on the last election
It was to do
or
with
something.
the bus.
Yeah,
I
something
can
like
explain
that.
it to you if you like.
No, it's all right.
No, I'm going to explain.
Okay, explain.
What happened is the bus. You know they have those tacky buses that say like
Yeah,
the slogan on the
horrible
side.
buses. Yeah,
Funny, you know the
I
Remain
saw it.
the Remain bus, which
It's now the
with a
Conservative
failure,
one.
the Remain bus that failed is now being used by Theresa May as her strong and stable transport. Yes, what happens is the bus. Each candidate is allowed like £8,900 to do the whole thing, strictly so that's to pay for all of the people who go knock on doors, all the paperwork, all the like leaflets and flyers and everything like that. What happens is those buses go to each constituency and carry people there
Sure.
to go and campaign. And what happened was there's obviously a big central pot that those buses are allowed to come from that
Yeah.
don't come out of somebody's 8,900.
£8,000, yeah.
But what was supposed to happen is when the bus goes to somebody's constituency and they buy them lunch or whatever, that was supposed to come out of the constituency
sure,
pot.
yeah.
But it wasn't. It was coming out of the central pot.
Right, okay.
And that's where the disparities come from. The judgment was that it was wrong. However, it was negligent as opposed to a criminal deceit.
Yeah, because there was
Yeah,
there was a
how it
whole
was
thing.
left.
These people were saying that these people had like screwed
It
up,
smears. It just stinks of being a big whitewash.
and they were
though.
worried that the Tories were worried that if they had been disavowed,
it would have been-
essentially and
it'd have
kicked
been
out of
stuffed.
Parliament, if those electorates
it
had
was a
been
lot
kicked out
as well.
of Parliament, they'd have lost majority and been forced into either a coalition, or Labour would have been asked by the Queen to take over and start a
think-
new government.
no,
That's
what
what
would
I'd
have
read.
happened-
I don't know if it's
I
true.
think what would have
if it's
happened, there'd
true.
have been by-elections on all of those seats.
Yeah, that's
They
how
would have
they'd
had to
have
put
done it.
new,
Just for
they'd have had to put
those
up a new
politicians. Yeah.
and you would argue that it would possibly be difficult.
So actually, you just may as well have a general election.
But it would be, it would have. You'd think that if there'd been illegal activities in all of these campaign seats, it would
Yeah.
have made their life a bit tricky. So therefore, they would have, if there was any kind of marginal idea, and you were like, oh, well, I was going to vote Conservative, but last time they cheated, you're
Yeah.
probably not going to vote for them. They would have had. They were.
Yeah, they could have lost.
They
and-
could have lost a lot. And
Well,
then
that's
they
what
could have
this.
lost the
That's what the
majority.
story
It would
was.
have been
Basically,
unlikely
the
anyway.
gist of this story was that they've called for a general election so that they wouldn't
But
lose.
that
seats and
came
lose
out
power.
before. That came out pre the whatever. There's been lots of bits of legislation stuff that have been pushed through before this election that they
Yeah, I
didn't
heard
want.
that as well.
So there was something about a clean energy bill and all sorts of weird bits and bobs going on.
Anyway, it's all a bit of a mess. But general
That's a
election in
giant
the month.
mess.
If you haven't registered
June
to vote,
8th.
why not register?
go and
you
register.
lunatics.
Go and register before the 22nd. That's a week.
Just vote for someone.
Vote for somebody. Yeah, do it. That's important. And then it's everything's just kind of carrying on. Whatever the whole election.
So what was
stuff
this?
is
What was
normal.
this guy?
This is a man who's putting rat traps to stop people stealing his campaign
what,
signs.
like an old school mousetrap type of thing, or like a cage that you walk into.
no, not like mousetrap, not like the game.
Or like that would be brilliant.
That'd be amazing.
Knock the post and it comes rattling down on top of you.
No, he's got a 100 meter by 100 meter board set up in his front lawn with all of the stations on the way. A full
Have a
mousetrap
look.
board.
Have you got a picture?
No, his mousetrap is just like the size to capture a human.
I need to see it.
It's quite big. It's just loading now.
Oh, that's fantastic. Do you reckon it actually works?
It's about the size of half a car.
Yeah, it's quite big. So if you lifted the sign off, it would ping over and trap your leg, and probably you have to have
by
your
the
leg
looks of things, it would
amputated.
break your leg here. I mean, it's like steel. It's a steel bar on a spring. If that is on a spring and that isn't just
If
loops,
that's legal,
imagine.
it's basically, it's a massive mousetrap.
Yeah, there's a friend of mine made a bike film recently. It's on YouTube, whatever, and he made one last year. It's called A Slice of British Pie, which is like a look at the UK mountain bike scene from the off season, like what everybody gets up to.
Yeah, cool.
Super famous. I think it's done 250,000 views or whatever. And he made a giant pie thrower, like a catapult, like a catapult with these rubber bands and whatever. And he could fire a piece of pie like 100 meters. He could fire a pie from a bin lid on a giant arm. It was sick. It was so
We
cool.
did something like that at school. Do you remember? We made trebuchets.
Yeah, the trebuchets were cool. I made a trebuchet with my granddad once as well, with like lead weight on the end of it, like a proper trebuchet with a sling and everything.
That's really
I could
cool.
throw cork. I used to
That's
do little
really cool.
projects with Grandad when I'd go and stay with him. We'd make stuff. Used to make
That
little
one.
gliders. Yeah, Grandad, who was the painter and the
Lotus Grandad.
the engineer Grandad. This room's not a bit of a shrine to him, but I've got all his he was a watercolor painter, and I've got lots of his artwork up in here. I like having him up here. Yeah,
Incredible. Very talented.
yeah, mega talented guy.
What happened
I've
to
been
you,
reading
eh?
his
Jesus.
God, I didn't get his.
Bloody hell, Angus.
I didn't get his.
Let down. God.
He wrote he wrote like a bit of an autobiography type thing, because basically he had lived such a very massively varied life, but he never really told anybody what he did, or nobody really understood. So he wrote it all down.
Memoirs.
Yeah, and it's quite interesting. It was a really good read. It was quite nice.
Is
I
it a
read
book or?
No, it's collated pieces of paper that he's
Sure.
typed up and whatever. But yeah, he didn't get it printed as a book. He has written a book though.
Really?
He's written a book. It's called The Idiot's Guide, and it's maybe that's just what he called it. He just used to call everyone idiots, but The Idiot's Guide was what it was a set of guidelines and principles for stress engineering, for wings on planes and whatever. and it became like
Oh, I forget because it was plain design originally.
de
wasn't it?
Havilland. It became like gospel for every single person who was at JCB had a copy of this, and everybody had read it, and everybody like a guideline. They called him Mac. Everybody would like look at his guidelines and whatever. And there's another race. There's other people who've looked at his. It's very well. It's funny. It's one of those things where you don't realize how
You don't appreciate it.
appreciate it at the time of how respected it was. Yeah, he designed like the JCB Bobcat, and like that was his, and the Loadall. So like on every farmyard that you see with those things, like a low loader to put hay bales up on stacks. Yeah, that was his. Yeah, funny things.
And a Lotus.
Yeah, and the Lotus racing cars with Colin Chapman. Designed the aerodynamic wheels and all sorts of stuff.
And a whole car, didn't he? The type.
Yeah, he did. He did all the stress engineering for that race car.
What was it?
I think it's a Lotus 6 or something.
6?
Yeah.
Something like that.
And he got given one as payment for making it. Super interesting guy. Yeah.
You can actually read about him online because I googled him once.
You can Google him. Yeah, he's Googleable.
Macintosh.
Yeah. Wow, you really did Google him.
I did.
Yeah, so this human rat-sized mousetrap.
Awesome idea.
Yeah.
There's plenty of signs around Chudley. None of them have mouse traps, though.
No, but lots of them have been snapped off.
Yeah.
All the conservative signs around here have been snapped off.
A few angry youths, I think, have gone around.
The youth vote have gone out with a trainer and snapped them all off.
Gone out with a circular saw.
Yeah. I saw a funny thing online this week. It was a general election to be a Conservative landslide. Oh, because the 18 to 24-year-olds won't turn up, but will moan for the next 5 years through peep show memes or something. It's like, wow, they've literally stared into the future of what will happen.
Excellent. I think it is a case of that, though, isn't it? Like, if the youth vote don't come out in force, it could sway the election either way.
Yeah. It's so hard. I remember we talked about this last time. I can speak for my Facebook and my Twitter. I would honestly say 95%. 95%.
No, 100% of what is published. Not maybe 90-something% of the people I follow, but about 100% of what's actually posted is pro-Labour, or pro-socialist.
It's pro-anti. It's basically is pro-anti-conservative government.
Yeah.
Basically, change what is now.
That's right.
People don't want what is now.
Yeah.
And are willing to do things, elect anybody in some seats. Like here, for example, it's so conservative, but Lib Dem are the second party.
Yeah. So it's a case of voting Lib Dem.
If you're not happy with Conservative, you wouldn't vote Labour, even though you perhaps want a Labour government.
That's right.
Because it'd be a waste here. So you do it as an anti.
It's a protest vote.
A protest vote.
Yeah.
There's all that going on, but we're surrounded by our own age group and similar people of similar thoughts, but it's so pro
Labour,
which bodes well. The future is going to be a lot of well, they call it a fairer society, don't they? Of people of just sharing stuff around more.
Well. Yeah, the general Labour
in 15 years'
is
time,
more
if you look at the spread of voting, if you look at the spread of voting, isn't it, of the age groups, of how many 65 to 80-year-olds go out and vote is such a huge chunk. In 15 years' time, they will all be dead.
Yeah, and they will be replaced by the next group.
The next 15 years, and because everybody who goes through school, everything has to be fair. I mean, if you're sent to the back of the line for the lunch queue when you're 6 years old, you're annoyed because it's not fair. Well, that's not because everything we're drilled into us has to be fair and whatever. So then our politics probably sway towards more
certainly at the moment,
centralist or balanced
Perhaps
views.
When our grandparents were younger, it was if you were good, then you got rewarded.
Exactly. And I think there has been a shift in the way we were taught.
Quite probably, yeah.
And therefore, we are probably going to
Our expectation is different.
Yeah, the expectation of youth are fed up that it's not fair because we've gone through school and everything.
I think
fair.
what we are good at doing...
I don't know if that actually works as a for running a country.
No, who knows? But what
it
seems is that we don't just want fair... Oh, it's not fair for me. A lot of people who I'm talking about it want it to be fair for everyone.
Yeah.
That's the difference, I think, is that we want it to be fair for all people. Whereas I find a lot of the time, a lot of the conservative
you'd look
policies
for yourself.
are better for me, not better for groups of people. Well, yeah, groups of people with a higher end, probably, but better for me and my social status rather than better for everyone, which just seems a bit pointless. Because if everybody's better off, then ultimately everybody will be better off.
Yeah.
You know?
But
if everybody
funny,
earns more and everyone puts more into the economy is stronger and everyone's better off.
The thing I think is really difficult
Rather
is it's
than just
really
the top
easy. If that's your politics and that's the way you sway, it's really easy to carry on explaining it to yourself and being like, oh, well, I'm right.
That makes sense.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah, I know.
And not
You
appreciating
really have
the
to be
other
open.
side.
That's why I think what is good about a general election is with the campaigning and having that information available at the time of a general election, whether it's displayed on the media that you choose to watch or not, the information is there in places.
The other thing as well is
at least you get a chance to read and actually understand what the parties want to try and do. Whether they'll do them or not is an entirely different story.
The other one you get is that now everybody says, oh, the media don't report the real news.
Yeah.
But that is said. The media's biased. Everyone's biased. The print media are biased.
Yeah.
That's is said so much to the point now, almost where it's had the desired effect. Because they go, oh, it's in the print media, it's probably not real.
Yeah.
But once again, I can only speak for my age.
I always
well,
like I was talking about the story about the Conservatives and why they might have launched a general election. I find all the time when I read anything that seems quite strongly opinionated that I need to look it up to check. I need to check the facts for myself. Yeah. Because you always wonder, is that real or not?
Do you think they another reason why they've called this? And do you think, obviously, because politics goes in chunks. It goes through years, it goes through spells.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
It goes red, and then it goes blue, and then it goes red, and it goes blue, and it goes red and blue. And then when the Reds cock it up, the Blues moan that say the Reds did it, and then when the Reds cock it up, the Blues say they did it. It's just that's how it works.
Yes.
Do you think we're at the time when it swings back again yet?
Probably.
Do you reckon this could be the one, or is it going to be in another 5?
Yeah, I think it'll be the next one. I don't think that the British want to upset the apple cart now.
We've already kicked the wheel off our apple cart this year.
Yeah, I mean, I have this conversation with Jazz all the time, and she was like, "Yeah, but the whole point of politics is that policies change and everything changes. So why can't we turn around now and say, actually, we don't want a Brexit? Because the whole point of democracy is that we have the right to do that if we want to change our minds." So it is, who knows? Basically, the point of what she's saying is who knows? Who knows what might happen? Because actually, we might all say, no, we don't want to.
The interesting one I saw was...
It's really hard to predict.
Somebody, an independent poll, had gone and asked, do you are in favour of fox hunting?
That's right, I remember.
74% of people
said no.
Are not in favour of fox hunting.
Yeah.
12% are, and obviously the other abstained. Are you in favour of
tuition fees?
Tuition fees or grammar schools on the other one? Basically, it comes out, and it averages out that 61% of people are in favour of Labour policies.
Yeah.
Would you trust a Labour government? No. Only 31% of people. It's like they haven't linked together that the ideals of what one party are offering, they're willing to. It's almost like the Conservative have almost played the ultimate. It's almost balanced. They've almost played the ultimate game. They've managed to do what they want, and on the underside, have this trust in them, and still drive through what they feel is best and what they want to do for those people, while still maintaining that they are doing what people don't want, but they still trust them to do something they don't want.
I know, it's crazy.
And until that poll was published, well,
the thing I thought the other day...
It's mad, that is.
I haven't made any decisions yet. Not really. And I thought to myself the other day, why do people not trust Corbyn? I don't know whether I do or not, but why don't people trust him?
It's because they've been told that...
Because...
Yeah.
How has he proved in any way, one way or the other? He's never had a chance to do one thing or the other. other than a few Labour politicians being upset about his views on politics and saying, "Oh, we don't want him as our leader."
It's very weird, though. Anyway, there's that, but then also the whole time he's just getting badmouthed by the other side.
Constantly by
but
everyone.
You'd expect that anyway, because that's easy.
It's crazy.
But that would
But
always
even
happen.
Blair's getting in on it. Blair can sod off.
It's funny.
Everyone
It's like-
hated him 5 years ago, but
Yeah.
now he's been cleared.
No,
Everyone's
everybody- no,
likes him
everybody
suddenly.
still hates him. Everybody still,
It's like-
there's- people
I mean, I
still
don't-
think he was a war.
I don't have an opinion on him at all. Not at all. Way before my time, really. Before I was aware enough to care.
Yeah,
But why is he popped up all of a sudden? You know?
I don't know. I think
He can sod off.
he's
Leave everyone
making
to
bank
it.
as well. Just
Yeah, well,
leave
that's
him
the
to
thing.
it.
Yeah,
He's making. Yeah, but
absolutely
he does that
rolling
public
in it.
speaker thing, and they earn
Oh,
absolute.
bloody knob.
They
They're all
earn
knobs.
bank.
They're all knobs, really, aren't they? Like
Oh,
all
yeah.
of them. They're all politicians. That's the problem. That's what's wrong with government, Angus. They're all politicians. Where are the real men and women? Where are the real people fighting for our rights? Isn't that what Labour is supposed to be?
Yeah, for the many, not the fews, the slogan. Yeah, that's the other one that's got me. Oh, the slogan thing. Where Theresa May has said strong and stable
Oh,
so many
God.
times. It's
it's
genuinely
sickening.
painful.
It's
It's sickening. It is sickening how many times she said strong and stable.
Oh,
Or the other one that it's always followed up by is you can have a strong and stable government or a coalition of chaos. The man who wrote Coalition of Chaos, I hope he's getting 50p for every time she says that.
I
Because
think he probably is. His commission.
it's horrible. And then you thought about it. It was like, oh, okay, the Labour hadn't announced anything yet, and they weren't going for one of these tacky slogans. And they go, oh no, there was still time for the many, not the few. Now they're hammering that one. Just drop this token. Stop talking in cliches. It doesn't work anyway. That's not how people's brains work.
No, well, some of them do, I think. But saying for the many, not the few, is just totally a slight against the Conservatives.
Yeah.
Like, that's all it is. It's not like, we're Labour, we're awesome, which is how their slogan should be. It is literally,
it's a
Conservatives are horrible,
Yeah.
so you should like us. That's
Yeah.
basically what it
We're
is.
the only other option.
That should be their slogan. Let's face it, everyone, we're the only other option. So,
Would you vote for that? The other thing I saw that was it the Green Party
yeah.
aren't putting any candidates up in marginal seats to where Conservatives could be defeated. So therefore,
Oh, what? So that people
they
don't
are
vote for them, so they
campaigning-
vote for other
so
people.
they are campaigning for whoever is currently in second.
Wow.
So they're going around,
That's
if it's
brilliant.
a Lib Dem candidate or a Labour candidate, they're going around, when the hell is this happening in this election? And Lib Dem were doing it in some
That's
seats
crazy.
too. Some Lib Dem people were campaigning for Labour candidates because they knew that
Yeah.
it was essentially they were just going to steal a chunk of the vote that could
Yeah.
overturn it, that could lead to a coalition.
So they're just
It's genuinely, it's turned to like this weird gang warfare thing.
mental.
Yeah.
Mental.
We've left. I think what's happened here is we've left it too long between pods, and too
And
much has
so
happened.
much politics has happened.
So yeah, we've kind of dived into the hole.
Yeah. But that's okay.
I had to happen at some point, didn't it?
This is episode 45. It has been a year.
Yes, it has because
It has been a year.
Our like hosting expired, and I had to renew
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
on
it was
holiday.
It was May the something.
It's
that we
funny. I've got
started.
so many stories about holiday and everything. So much funny stuff happened that when
You have to remember.
the funny things happen, I see it, and I'm like, oh, I've got to remember to tell George about that on the pod.
Maybe we'll do a bonus episode
I just like
with extra. Start with an extra.
that holiday, man. I could talk for an hour about that holiday.
About the funny stuff that
About the
happened.
funny stuff about being on an all-inclusive holiday. I swear. I spend half of my time biting my tongue, laughing. Oh, yeah. How long have we been going?
Long enough, I think.
Have we been going long enough?
Yeah.
Right. I'll run the music.
That concludes the personal messages. We continue with music.
Right. Well, we didn't go very far this week because all we did was we started at a man with a
It was
rat
a
trap,
catch-up.
and then we caught up, and then we just talked about politics.
Yeah. Sorry.
We talked about the election, really.
It was quite important. As we've already said, if you haven't registered to vote, what are you doing? Go
Do
register to vote and vote.
Do it. Do it. Do it. That's one of my favourite things from Star Wars ever. Yeah. Right. Sorry, I've done myself there. Yeah. So that was an episode of Start for 10.
He's been Angus.
He's been George. We drank beer and we talked about the election. Next week we'll talk about
Something else.
something else, and we'll go on a journey. We'll all learn something.
What did I teach you earlier? I taught you something, didn't I? What
They're
was it?
being electrocuted.
Oh, yeah.
Because I got, no, I'm not going to tell that story because I'll talk about that on the holiday one. On my
Okay.
stories about my holidays.
You can wait for that fact.
My holiday memoirs. There you go, a little tease. What did I learn today? I googled something. Why do clouds get darker as they get more full of rain?
Something to be light. I don't
Yeah,
know.
as more particles gather in there and the clouds get thicker and be deeper, the light obviously refracts in there and they appear darker. So darker rain clouds are more full of rain.
So it refracts more within the cloud.
Yeah, so therefore appear darker.
Appears darker. Interesting.
Interesting fact for you there. Tell your friends that one.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah, because it doesn't reflect off.
Because obviously I knew that clouds are dark, rain clouds are dark, but I always wondered why.
Yeah, why they get
That was
darker.
Yeah. So there
There
you
you
go.
go.
You learn something every day.
All right then. Thank you very much.
Follow on Twitter, whatever.
And Twitter.
Facebook. Cheers for coming and listening
Thanks.
back.
I
I mean, we
mean,
went
yeah,
away for a
wow.
very long time, so yeah.
Everyone probably thought it was dead.
Oh, it wasn't dead.
It wasn't dead.
This is the rebirth.
Also, we're nearly at number 50.
We're nearly at 50, yeah.
And we want to do something cool for number 50. If you have any ideas, please
The only
let us know.
suggestion so far was a naked podcast, but that doesn't really help
doesn't
anyone.
really work. I mean, we could Facebook Live a naked podcast, but I don't
Well,
feel
we'll get
comfortable with
barred.
that. So, yeah, if anyone's got any cool ideas, let us know.
Nice one. Right, see you
Cheers,
next time,
bye.
George. Bye-bye.
Perfect timing. I love perfect timing. When that
It's almost
song
like we
just
planned that.
ends. Oh,
Almost like we planned it.
beautiful.